Hi, and welcome to the Lunation situation where I take you through the upcoming eclipse in the sign of Aries at 19 degrees and 22 minutes, occurring April 8th. And it is quite something. Well, in life, there is always a start and an end to everything, right? And so this cycle reminds us that, yeah, there is always a start, there is always a beginning, there is fresh energies and, new cycles. And this new moon solar eclipse is that new cycle. So, in a way, it is a 19-year cycle because it births a story of the North Node in Aries that continues until in 19 years we have eclipses again with the North Node in Aries. In another sense, it's a 9-year cycle that it begins a reviewal energy that occurs 9 years later. But to keep it short and more crisp for us to understand, it is for sure a huge beginning, a huge start of a very serious, I would say, a very serious 6-month cycle, because a new moon is always that start of a 6-month period. And so is it in this case, except that it is a solar eclipse, which means it's a turbo new moon, a new moon on steroids, so to speak. So, well, that is a new moon, right? It's fresh, it's a beginning, it's a great impact, new frequencies, new, fresh storylines coming into our lives, especially during an eclipse. It will be suddenly eclipsed in, very likely to. But then it's in Aries, which is also the beginning of the astrological cycle, the astrological zodiac cycle, which starts with Aries, right? The first sign. So in that sense, it's also a very fresh kickstart energy, just like a kick in the butt to get going, to start, to desire and feel passion for new things, new subjects in your life. When we look at the sign of Aries, I'm listening to other people speak about it, especially astrologers, of course, and I feel that it is a bit misunderstood, okay? So, for some reason, people tend to look at kind of the negative aspects of Aries, being very straightforward, kind of bold, but then again, also a bit rude. And just, Aries can be selfish and just very outspoken, and people just might not like that, right? And to a degree, that is all definitely the case for Aries, but I feel that the real thing that isn't mentioned enough is the power, the spark, that, yes, passion to make things happen. It is that fuel you need to go after, to do, to accomplish. Without Aries, without the beginning, you have nothing. So this is, well, it shows that it starts with you, and that is the whole theme of this solar eclipse. I would say this is the new you. So on a personal level, what new beginning, this new understanding of who you are, of your own individuality, of your own unique identity, of your own much more healed version. What is that person gonna do? where is this new storyline going to go to? I mean, what do you desire? What is your passion, right? So you can look where 19 degrees falls in your own chart to get a good idea on, the topics. So the house will give you a clue. Of course, if there are other personal planets or points in your chart that is hitting, that will add to the kind of personal, private thing that you will be going through with this solar eclipse. But not only 19 degrees of Aries, this will also be a major boost for anything around, I would say, 17 and 22 degrees of Leo, as well as Sagittarius. That will be a boost of energy and major kickstart feeling. And it will be a bit of a push, slightly uncomfortable, but very necessary to 17 and 22 degrees of the cardinal signs. So the crab, but of course Libra and also Capricorn. So anyway, let's talk more about Aries, because that is this new energy being birthed into our lives. I mean, exponentially, because we're talking about a total eclipse. So visible in some areas of North America, and that means major impact on those areas for sure. Well, Aries is just, again, super energetic. It takes charge. It is all about leadership, entrepreneurial skills. It is about initiation, start, head first, going into something, not thinking too much about it, just following this instinct, this push, this desire to start, to begin something, to go after something, because it's ruled by Mars. So this is ultimately, what are you fighting for? What is, what is your goal? What are your goals? And yeah, it's a very direct energy. It's straightforward, goes straight to whatever it wants to head to. Is not afraid of almost nothing. It likes a challenge, and it's very unafraid. It's also unapologetic, so it's also direct in, communication, in everything. It likes everything fast, quick. Due to all that energy, it is a pioneer, a Kickstarter, and it loves to confront. It's direct, right? Head on. What's in front of you, let's look at it, let's fix it. And it also means it's it doesn't mind a little confrontation here and there in other areas. You know what I mean? It's unapologetic in who it is and what it wants. So that means you. This is where we stand more boldly in who we are, understanding who we are, to be unapologetic in our identity, and being like, this is me. This is my new chapter, and let's do it. This is the fuel that we all need to champion in our lives, to lead our lives forward in massive quantum steps. This is where you claim a new story, a new you. It is also about being very alert, being, Mars ruled. It's very like 2020 vision, that hunter instinct, ready for the battle, not afraid for the battle, And, it's all about conquering. It's all about impact. It's all about getting there. And, yeah. So, what are you ready to be more daring? In what field can you allow yourself to be more bold, more in the front of it, with confidence? And that's definitely one of the subjects that this solar eclipse is doing, especially, I would say, in our personal lives. But then again, Aries is also that spark of creation, right, where the birth of everything starts. It's the spring sign in the Northern Hemisphere. So it's also about what are you ready to create. And this is a massive, massive, massive window of openings, of incoming energies. Truly a beginning like no other. But as I said, a new moon is always a 6-month cycle. So I looked at the full moon, Aries, occurring October 17th. And that is a very serious full moon where this solar eclipse energy is going to culminate, the first culmination that we're going to feel of this eclipse. And that is going to be big collectively. We're talking major cardinal cross, fixed cross, with the sun, the moon, Mars, and Pluto. And that's going to bring in, I feel, security issues. Now, if you talk about Aries on a collective level more, this is also conflict, arguments, aggression. This, can also happen, of course, in private life. But so unfortunately, seeing that full moon in 6 months later, we are embarking upon a pretty intense period. It's really no joke. Even though I do feel that personally, this is like new you, new life, just a seriously brand new page into your existence. But collectively, I'm not so sure. As it represents leaders, right? And it is a solar eclipse, which is also very about leaders. Either we're going to see new leadership around this solar eclipse, or looking ahead 6 months in time with the full moon in Aries and that major tension, huge stress, October 17th. Yeah, that seems like some big leaderships will come to an end. So I feel between now and then, the coming 6 months, a lot is going to change. And I guess that saying really applies to this. It starts with you. All of that change starts with you. So the more you embrace who you are, the more you're bold and fierce and unapologetic, not afraid to have a fight here and there. And that's the part, again, that's misunderstood about Aries, because why are we so afraid of being able to express anger, Because it can be done in a very healthy way as well. Anger is just one of those basic emotions that we all have. So denying it would be unnatural. You just need to fuel it into a certain outlet, or, that it doesn't escalate, right? But anger is super necessary. It is, first of all, fuel, just like Aries. It's like you need that passion. You need that anger to wanting to change something, do something. Some battles take a long time or are strenuous, and you just need to want to persevere, want to conquer all of that. And so anger is quite that fuel that you should not be afraid of. And I do feel that this solar eclipse is where we should express ourselves more fully. Tapping into the anger we have within ourselves, being more in touch with our anger, so that it doesn't lead to aggression, but so that you do want to change things and be more you, and be more real, be more direct, be more honest, especially since we have to move away from that south node in Libra. This is no time anymore to, work around topics and to be very polite and, choose kindness and compassion and understanding over others. No, this is where you don't like whatever is occurring, say it. Don't be afraid to be rude, actually. I think it's time to be confrontational, but not in a way that's annoying. Also, by no means because you think you have to be a certain way. And this is where it comes from your core. If you feel you are wronged, you're not appreciated, or whatever, say it. And let other people deal with their own reactions. We don't have to be rude. This is not about being rude, but it is about being direct and being honest. We wasted too much time to tittle-tally around things, okay? We're just gonna say what we think. We're just gonna say what we feel. And again, we don't want to be assholes about it, but the key here is to really honor yourself. And if that is how you really feel about something, this is time to step to the front center and to make it known, whatever it is. So for years, I've actually been learning to stand in that, I guess, anger and to be more and more direct, and to be more and more okay with who I am and what I think and what I want and what I don't like. And, I unlike classic opinions about Aries, I refrain myself a lot, and I think I shouldn't. I should be more Aries, and so should you. So when we look at the chart, this is quite intense. This is called in astrology a stellium, so like a train of planets. First of all, it starts with 15 degrees of the north node, right next to the sun and the moon. That makes this a new moon right there together in the sky, which is why there is no visibility during this eclipse of the moon. Of the moon. And this makes this a total eclipse because the sun and the moon are very close to the north node. Then we find exactly on this solar eclipse, this is no coincidence, we find Chiron, who has been in Aries for years. Anybody with Aries planets or placements, you could have felt Chiron over your energy field. What does that mean? Chiron is the wounded healer. So this talks about very deep trauma, maybe lifetimes ago, maybe written in your DNA, maybe from childhood, generational, whatever, but deep trauma and wounds to whatever, psyche, emotions, behavior. In Aries, it could even be physical trauma, to the body dysmorphia, not feeling great in your body, having issues, lack of confidence. Chiron has been working with all of us to upgrade that, meaning more confidence in your body, more confidence in who you are, to be more unapologetic, to be more straightforward, to not be afraid of who you are and what you think and what you want. So that process of healing is intense. That is not easy. Healing processes are never quick, unlike what Aries would want. But this solar eclipse means that I think when you have done years and years of healing work, like myself, this is a whole fresh story. Now think about it. If, let's say, 30, 40 years of your life, you've lived with trauma and, the consequences of it. So like, what is that called? PTSD, CPTSD. So post-traumatic stress disorder, or complex post-traumatic stress disorder, whatever. If you've been living with that trauma and that pain that was engraved in your body, in your psyche, in energy field, and you've been trying to heal that for many years. But first of all, if you've been living with that for 30, 40 years, that's all you've been known. Like that was the thin red line in your story, in your life. And that has been dictating every experience in your life, every interaction, right? But what if from this solar eclipse on, it's like a clean slate, tabula rasa, white page, new, fresh. What if from now on that does not dictate your life anymore? If you've done the healing work, which takes years, honestly, it's quite a process. So to me, there are two ways that you could experience this solar eclipse in Aries. Either, like myself, you've done years of healing work. This is new story. From now on, all the experiences are like a new baby born. It's completely fresh. Nothing is going to dictate anymore because that trauma has been dissolved, integrated, accepted, healed. And it's just a story. Just like, Jane Austen's Pride and Prejudice is now just a story. It's just a story that you've gone through, but there are no more attachments to that, no more emotional or physical things dragging you, pushing you towards almost reliving that trauma, knowingly or unknowingly, right? So that's one part of the solar eclipse. Completely new story. Now you're the healer. Now, because you're healed, you are the healer, right? You're the teacher now. And that just opens up a whole new window of experiences and opportunities. Or if you've not done all of that healing work, this is where everybody gets the biggest push of their lifetime to heal, to go deeply into the subconscious mind, to go deeply into the childhood wounds, the relationship with those emotions and traumas to the physicality. And that's, you know, all these traumas are unfortunately anchored in the body as well. So healing is multifaceted. Many areas need to be addressed to really go to that clean slate. So there are two ways, right, of this solar eclipse unfolding. But what is sure is that this new moon works with Chiron, and then the full moon in 6 months' time, October 17th, also works with Chiron. So the coming 6 months are so interesting, and massive healing frequencies, and I think there is no other way. This is the time. If people are not going to do their healing work, I think the consequences might be very serious, like exit kind of stuff. So take this serious, take this call from the universe to whatever issue that is lingering, because again, this healing process is so intense, long, and like a spiral. You're going over and over the same topics until, you know, until you can integrate it and accept whatever occurred, and to then transmute that experience into strength. So what also actually a third option could be that between now, April 8th, and October 17th, this is the final stage of your healing work, in the sense that the major healing work where, yes, new life, new story. So clearly we are thrown into healing work. As Chiron is the wounded healer, he was literally physically wounded, I think actually by Mars, Aries, who's the ruler of this eclipse, if I remember correctly. He gets an arrow thrown into his leg or something. So what many astrologers say, and I'll just repeat it, just to have it out there, is that, you know, this could be injury prone because of the Chiron so close, like a minute away from the solar eclipse. It's like in the solar eclipse. So that's quite, yeah. So I do agree that there could be like some risks, and that you should take care of your physicality. But I think that's just basic knowledge anyway. As Aries is also the body, and you just need to take care of your body very well. And also, you need to be very in tune with your body. Like, all this healing that I talked about, it's a big part of it is also being in your body and listening to your body, understanding your body, understanding its needs and whatever is not working for your body, and just ways of greatly taking care of it, energizing your body, whatever is needed, right? This could be going for a run, but also maybe a long walk, or you know, taking supplements. I don't know, whatever it you feel that energizes your body more. You should follow that energy. You should follow that excitement that you feel with whatever you do. But the connectedness to your body is very, very essential. And that also means loving your body, being very confident in your body, you know, really embracing your body and honoring it, flaunting it, you know, how beautiful you are in whatever shape, size, or whatever you are. Feel yourself as being beautiful as well. But on that stellium, remember, there's a train of planets and points here. So we have the North Node, the Sun, the Moon, Chiron, but then we also have Mercury, who's currently retrograde since a month. So in this solar eclipse, Mercury is, so from April 1st to April 8th, Mercury has already been a week into its retrograde. Now that means that Mercury, the planet of our mind, the planet of information, the planet of learning, planet of contracts, agreements, mobility, so be careful with the mobility, is not in its power and not in focus. And it's reviewing this Aries energy of like, well, who am I? Well, what do I want? How can I be more direct? How can I be more unafraid with my expression? How can I integrate my anger and fuel it in my mind, my body, and all of this synchronization that's going on with this retrograde? And then also on Mercury, which is quite telling, we find the dwarf planet, but also categorized as asteroid, which is a dwarf planet, called Aries, which is the feminine equivalent of Pluto. So quite intense, transformational. And Aries is exactly, I feel, this energy that we're working with during the solar eclipse. She's quite an interesting figure, and again, a little misunderstood, because whenever it comes to anger, there's this, I don't know, weird, people are afraid of anger. And now, of course, I understand, because really angry people are kind of scary. And, you know, anger can easily lead to aggression, which is horrible and wrong. But anger in the sense like, if you do me wrong, why should I just sit there and be like, I did not like that? I should be able to tell you off as well. Because if you've been rude to me or whatever misunderstanding was going on, you can be very polite about it too. But as long as you tap into that anger, you do not deny it. You work with it. And Aries is showing us this. She is very confrontational. She believes in chaos. So, this could also be a 6-month period, honestly, of quite a lot of chaos and confrontation and challenges. She does not like superficiality, and she believed that chaos is the order of everything. So she used chaos to confront the status quo. And I think we are now too. Confront the status quo, confront your status quo. This is about moving and shaking, okay? So this is about letting out this suppressed anger and to not be afraid of your own anger, to have a healthy outlet for it. And that can only happen when you heal, right? You do the healing work like Chiron tells us to. So that's quite intense, right? That train. When we look at the ruler of Aries, that's Mars. He's at 13 degrees of Pisces, right together with Saturn at 14 degrees of Pisces. Whew. This is where the seriousness comes in. This is where the discipline comes in. This is where your goals need to be adjusted. This is about devotion. This is about having even artistic and, you know, creative and spiritual and healing based goals. So creation is lifted up, the creation desire of the Aries energy, to quite the multidimensional reality of life and beyond life. And we need to be in tune not only with our body, but with our intuition, right? Connected to a higher source, the divine, the creator, whatever you believe in and want to name it. But the universe is saying to incorporate these things into your goals, into your motivations. And Saturn is going to be really strict about it. I feel this is about that healing work that has to be done. It's like, now is the time, says Saturn. And I want your devotion on this. I want you to be devoted completely on this healing journey. Or else the consequences might be quite harsh, as I said. So luckily for some, you know, Pisces is that removal energy. And so if you do the healing work, there are a lot of promises with this energy. Like, you know, I've been very consciously, steadily healing since 2012. But I feel this energy is much more quick. So it doesn't matter when you start or how long it takes. This energy will quickly propel us, I feel. If you're dedicated, disciplined, and truly want to heal these issues that go beyond maybe even this reality. This is also looking into like generational patterns, the issues in your family. Why are things repeating? Why are people going through this? I think this might actually also, this could really be the loss of a leader in some kind of way. The Pisces energy is also about grief and, you know, loneliness, seclusion, wanting to be more alone, still, quiet, you know. So I think we are also not only working through the anger, we're probably also working through our own sadness, which I think anger and sadness are not that far apart. Okay, so these are probably buddies, they're friends. So our anger and our sadness have to be looked at, have to be felt, and have to be moved through the body, the mind, the psyche, the soul, and to be released away. This Mars is having a quincunx, which is awkward, relationship to the South Node. It's also actually making a little bit wide, but because of this whole connection to the South Node, it's definitely important, and that is the sextile to Jupiter and Uranus. Now, this is also super interesting because Jupiter at 19 degrees of Taurus and Uranus at 21 degrees of Taurus, they're so close together. This is also what makes this quite an intense energy, because we're working towards a major conjunction on April 20th when these come together, and it's going to shake up our world. It's going to shake up our reality. For good or bad, things are going to change majorly. And keep in mind, eclipses are of Uranus nature and are about changes. So we're in for a ride, and we can definitely feel that with this eclipse, right? So that Mars, the ruler of this lunation, and Saturn are working with a little bit far, but still working with this. So I feel the shakeup, the changes are adjusted physically and into our motivation and goals. We need to imagine and create a new reality. It first starts with imagination, vision, then reality creation. It needs to start from a desire, from a passion that is translated into earthly, tangible life. And I think we are invited to level up and not only know ourselves like in this lifetime, but know ourselves on being a spirit, being a spiritual being, being a soul incarnated into a storyline, into this life that you're playing out, so that you understand more, so that the perspective is higher. And so this is forming a yod, pointing to that South Node in Libra. Now, this is the divine finger of God, right? So there's a divine purpose to that South Node in Libra, taking us away from compromising, from validation, from that politeness, the diplomacy, and all that needs to go. And, you know, diminishing yourself for someone else needs to go. Putting someone first before you definitely needs to go. And all these unhealthy attachments to people, places, and things, relationships need to go. And these patterns of toxic relationships or ways of relating to people that are not healthy need to go. Clearly. But what's so funny is, regular viewers will know the other eclipse on March 25th, which was a full moon, so lunar eclipse in Libra, had this same pattern. So that's really interesting, and which is why I definitely incorporated into this analysis. The same yod was there, except that it was with Venus being close to Saturn, and that is the ruler of Libra. And now in this eclipse, the ruler is Mars, and now Mars has taken the place of Venus. So what does that mean? Well, Venus is, first of all, the women, the feminine energies, receiving, right? Love, relationships, money, worth, self-worth. And what is Mars? Mars is the Mars is the masculine, sorry, the man, the men in this world. It's about goals, action. It's about more of the physical things, and it's that passion to go get it, to go fight for it. Our goals and motivations in essence. That's Mars. And also our energy and our body. So I find it meaningful, very clear to me that we're working with transforming masculine and feminine energies in this lunation. We are working with divine masculinity. We are working, reworking, transforming that energy. That's going to be a big part of that shaking of the earthly reality. Somehow is going to work, be a role player, like in this conjunction on April 20th, because it's so close to it. And, you know, as I said, this is a 6-month start. So we're working with this energy for 6 months. Yeah, the no matter what gender, the masculine aspect of giving, of you know, being dominant, I guess, versus the feminine energy of receiving and adjusting and adapting is reworked. Because obviously these feminine and masculine energies have a great effect upon our relationship.